All right, hi there. I'm Donna Bordeaux with CalculatedMoves.com. Wanted to give you a brief update on the new COVID relief bill that was passed right around the end of the year. Now, there's still a lot to be said about this bill. It is 5,593 pages. That's the longest bill ever passed through the Congress and Senate. So it'll take a long time to get all the details ready that need to go through this. They're still learning to read the bill. But here's what we know today. Now, this is January the 8th, so 2021. So if you're watching this after the fact, some things may have changed, so please make sure to watch our future updates too. First off, that bill was signed, and the old PPP, Payroll Protection Program, is no longer taxable. There was some big question as to whether or not you're going to have to add that back to your income. It is not taxable. And the second piece of that is there is a PPP2 along the way. So let's dig in just a little bit more. I'll give you some basics. First off, if you've been collecting unemployment or your staff has been, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program has been extended through April 5th of 2021. So that means there's an extra $300 a week for 11 weeks as long as you haven't used up your time. The second piece of that is there'll be stimulus payments coming out again. You can double check how much stimulus you're expecting on the IRS website. Those have started to dribble out, but we haven't seen a lot of activity yet, but those will be coming at any time in the next week or two. EIDL loans. A couple things. If you have not applied for an EIDL loan, they've extended the amount of time. You were under deadline to apply before the end of 2020. You now have an extra year, so you can still apply for the EIDL loan right now if you haven't already done so. The initial grants where they were giving up to $10,000, which was based on $1,000 per employee, no longer need to reduce the PPP loan. They were when you did the forgiveness program. The banks were telling you had to pay back that EIDL advance. This is one of the big reasons we did not want anybody to apply for forgiveness yet. We wanted to make sure that this got into play, which thankfully it did. So you no longer have to repay that. If you already did your PPP forgiveness and you have to repay that EIDL advance, it hasn't come out yet, but they will be forgiving that part of it too. So you might want to contact your bank. I doubt they have any details just yet, but that'll be on the way, so you do not have to pay that back. On the PPP1 program, the original program, they do have forgiveness, a simplified package for under $150,000 coming. They keep changing the rules, so I'm still suggesting that no one apply for forgiveness just yet. Be patient. I've never seen anybody get so excited about filing a tax return as I've seen people get excited about filing this forgiveness application. Patience is going to be the key here. There is no automatic forgiveness process in place yet. I believe it's coming. The Treasury Department still has to interpret the bill and get new policies and procedures in place, so it'll still be a while. Remember, you have 10 months from the end of the time frame, the 8-week or the 24-week. The 24 is the longest. 24 weeks after you got your PPP, you still have 10 months after that before you have to apply for forgiveness. So be patient, hang out, don't jump. Your banks are going to be jumping at you to tell you to apply in a lot of cases. Don't worry about that bank. They want a whole different thing than you do. So put that on the back burner for right now. We got a lot of other things to worry about. They also removed that 60% payroll cost stipulation on the forgiveness. So that's good news. If you had to close your operations, but you still had to pay a lot of rent, you're in luck. That'll be able to be forgiven. So it was the rent, the payroll costs, and they've added some additional things. They're fine details. We'll get into those later on, but again, no need to even apply for that forgiveness yet. All of these rules for the PPP1 only apply if you haven't applied for forgiveness yet. So if you already applied for forgiveness, you can't use these other costs or remove that 60%. So please, please, please put this forgiveness off of your mind for today's agenda. Do not apply for forgiveness until we give you that big high sign later on. We're watching this, I promise. It will be worth your while to wait. Okay? And again, the big news was it's no longer taxable. Now, PPP2 is a whole new PPP program with obviously new rules and requirements. You have to have less than 300 employees, no publicly traded companies anymore, 501c6 organizations like social organizations, chambers of commerce, business organizations can now apply for this. That was excluded before. You must have been in operation by February 15th of 2020. So if you started your business after that, you're out of luck. No PPP2. The biggest criteria is that your revenue must have decreased by 25%, measuring by any quarter over the last year. So if we look at quarter one of 2019 versus quarter one of 2020, for most people, quarter two is probably their tick a dive if your revenue went down. You've got to check quarter by quarter and see if your revenue decreased by 25%. If it did, that triggers the fact that you are eligible for PPP2. You can take 2.5 times your monthly payroll costs. Those monthly payroll costs can be calculated based on 2019 or 2020, from what we've heard so far. If you're a hotel, restaurant, or caterer, you can use 3.5 times that amount. Okay? So keep those in mind. More details will be coming. The banks are not accepting any applications yet for PPP2. It's still in kind of the formation and the marinating stage. So bear with us. Also, there's some questions about whether you can use payroll that was paid or accrued. We're still waiting on further details. And you must have spent all of PPP1 to qualify for PPP2. Okay? Couple things on income taxes. A little fun thing here. First off, if you're going to a restaurant, normally I would tell you you get a 50% deduction for business meals, but that will be changed to 100% for 2021 and 2022. Yay! Support your local restaurants. Now, that food must be purchased from a restaurant. They're trying to preclude anybody from purchasing from a grocery store. I don't know what the definition of a restaurant versus a caterer versus a store is. Your Walmart will make a bucket of chicken in the back. I don't know why that's any different than a restaurant. So we'll have to play that by ear. Earned income tax credits, you can use some prior year calculations to help out with that. Above the line charitable contributions. You no longer have to itemize to take a charitable deduction. In 2020, that was limited to $300. In 2021, it's limited to $600. Now, if you spent more than that and you can itemize, obviously you can still deduct that. But this is if you're not qualifying to itemize, which many people don't anymore. If you had flex spending accounts where you had balances in your medical accounts or your daycare accounts, that money can be carried forward into 2021 and 2022. Usually it's a use it or lose it deal at the end of the year, but we get to carry that over. And the medical expenses, it was limited by 10% of your income for a while there. We are back down to 7.5%, and that's a permanent change. A couple of other items. They've expanded the employee retention tax credit. This is actually going to be a big deal for many businesses who are down significantly. There'll be a whole lot more detail coming, but this one takes a lot more to analyze and make sure you qualify. I'm going to skip through a few. The row crop producers get $20 per acre payment. Not sure that applies to any in my area, but if that applies to you, that may be significant. Also, the family leave. When we had people who went out for COVID or had to take care of a family member for COVID, there was a special way you could pay them and get a payroll tax credit for their wages. That was scheduled to end on December 31st. It has been extended to March 31st of 2021. If you are a live venue or operator or promoter, theater, live arts, agents, managers, there are going to be some special relief options for those folks because they've pretty much been shut down. Also, if you have an existing SBA 7A loan, the SBA was paying payments for you for 3 months before. That has been extended 3 months for most everybody and 8 months for some industries. So check on your SBA loans. They may be making that payment for you again. All right, so it's going to take us a while to unpack all of this information and get it into motion. So stick with us. We'll have more details as they become available for you. And I hope that this has been a helpful update. Stay tuned to our website at www.calculatedmoves.com. And please follow us on Facebook. We'll be posting changes there as they come about too. Thank you very much. I'm Donna Bordeaux at calculatedmoves.com.